My name is Jonathan Goforth with Keller Williams Platinum Partners. Thanks for watching this video. Today I'm going to talk about the top 10 most common home defects. So this is for you. If you're a homeowner, you're about to put your house on the market, you're the seller. What's going to happen when you go under contract with a buyer and that buyer hires the home inspector to come in? What are they looking for? Well, these are the 10 most common home defects that they hopefully will not see on your home. If you're the buyer, this is what you're hiring your home inspector for. You want to know what is the condition of this property you're about to buy, even if you're going to take it as is. You still should always do a home inspection because every house has issues. Brand new construction, they have issues too. There's always some home defects and you need to know what those are. Let's get started. I am wearing a blue shirt to help you remember number one. Here we go. Please subscribe, give this video a like. Let's jump right into the list. Number one by far is water management. I'm going to talk to you about what that means. It's so important. So important. I'm wearing a blue shirt, the color of water, to help you remember water management is number one. Now, there's no exam. It's not that kind of video. You're not studying for some real estate test or even continuing education credit. It's not like that. This is simply practical advice wherever you live. Check your water management. How are you maintaining positive drainage away from your house? Positive drainage means it's sloping away from your house. You don't want water pooling around your house ever. So one of the things you talk about grading. You know, it's amazing when a house is brand new construction, and they backfill all the dirt and pack it in down around the foundation. Over time, over the next 5 to 10 years, that dirt will compact and it starts to lower a little bit up against the foundation. And so now if you look behind your bushes, it might be a little bit lower than the yard. And when it rains really hard, the water can't get away from the edge of your house. It pools there. It's common. That's why it's number one. Inspectors see this constantly. Now, you as a homeowner, especially because you're more aware of this, that's why you're watching this, go get some bags of dirt and just fill in the low areas up against the foundation, create a slope away from the house, get some positive grading. And I'll tell you, if you have piles of leaves up against, say behind your bushes, say you got maybe big boxwood bushes and you can't see behind them well, if you've got piles of leaves behind those, get rid of those old leaves from fall, because it may be giving you the illusion you don't have lower dirt level. And the leaves are simply looking like it's mounded up fine. Rental properties are a good one. I've got rental properties. I make sure my leaves are removed in the fall, either by my management company or me, because I don't want wet leaves staying up there where we can't see what's going on underneath of them. Gutters. My gosh, if you have big trees around your house, get your gutters cleaned a couple of times a year, because what will happen, the gutters get full, especially over the hole at the top of the downspout. And so you probably don't know it because you're inside when it's raining hard. But if you could see what happens to your gutters when it's coming down the roof and it's filling up the gutters and it can't go down the downspout fast enough, it is filling up the gutters and then overshooting the gutters straight down, making a waterfall against your foundation. And if you've got poor grading, this is going to lead to foundation problems, and that's coming up later. Landscaping, again, check your bushes, check what's behind them, make sure you do have positive drainage. Your downspouts many times are one of the biggest causes of poor water management. Those downspouts need to discharge a few feet out, not right against the foundation. The sump pump discharge is one of the worst because builders frequently, most of the time, they don't shoot it out far enough. And it will discharge right there, pretty close to the foundation. Well, that water is just soaking down, recycling it underneath the foundation, and you're shooting it out again, and you're never getting it far enough away from your property. This is good water management, is fixing these things, and this is the most common category of problems that a home inspector is going to see. For the most part, all of this is pretty easy. Now, let's say you have a very flat yard and you have a French drain system. French drains, or even buried downspouts, if you are not keeping your gutters clean, then leaves and junk from, say, pin oaks going down that downspout, and they are clogging your underground pipes. Now, your sump pump discharge doesn't matter if it's by itself because it can't get any leaves in it, but your downspouts do. So if my downspouts are buried, they shoot about 10 feet out into the yard. Do they work? And the best way to find out, put a hose right there where the downspout goes into your pipe, and just put a garden hose there and flush it and see if it doesn't just start backing up and gurgling over right there, or if you do see water emerging up out in the yard from the end of the pipe. This is how you eliminate future problems when it comes to foundation. Number 2 is electrical. Your breaker box, open junction boxes. These are things that the inspector is looking for. Did you know the inspector is going to take the cover off of your breaker box? Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, they're going to check the wiring. They're going to check the breakers. They're going to make sure the breakers work, and they're going to make sure that the wires coming into each breaker matches it. If it's a 20 amp breaker, it should be a 20 amp wire. You don't want those off sizes because it's possible that something could overheat and the breaker doesn't trip off when it should. They're going to look at the breaker box also for double tapping. You should not have more than one wire coming into each breaker. That's a sign of typically there's not enough room to add more breakers. Well, you can usually add mini breakers, something like that, but these are things that inspectors are looking for. Open junction boxes. There are 2 categories of home owner repair that are done poorly: electrical and plumbing. And on behalf of a lot of people out there, I've been doing this, just so you know, 26 years. I've been a full-time real estate agent. I have sold personally hundreds of houses, hundreds upon hundreds of houses in my career. And I would just like to tell you that duct tape and super glue do not fix everything. And during a home inspection, you'd be amazed what home inspectors will find. And they write these things up that the homeowner has made many repairs themselves using methods of fixing things that they should not have done. And that's where we see open junction boxes, and wires are sometimes not even taped together. They're just kind of twisted. There's not even a wire nut over them. There's no black electrical tape, and then there's no cover over the junction box. Now, certain things, if you are a buyer and you're getting an FHA loan or a VA loan, some appraisers will write up a house due to certain failure of things. Open junction boxes, not really stringently looked at anymore like it was years ago, but this is something that an appraiser does not want to see when they come and appraise your house. So these are things that are easy to fix. If you have open junction boxes, if you have outlets that are missing the cover plate, those are like seriously 25 cents at Home Depot or Lowe's. And a lot of things like this, you as the homeowner can get corrected before you go on the market. Let's talk about wood rot. Wood rot on the outside can be on your trim, could be on your windowsills, could be on wood siding near the bottom. Many times you're going to find rotting wood siding behind overgrown bushes, especially if you have a lot of wet leaves under it and there's just so much dampness behind these bushes and the leaves can't dry out. You'll get wood rot, and it could have been prevented with better water management. Now, if you have wood rot and you're about to put your home on the market, my thought is get the wood rot fixed, because certain buyers will want you to do it. So you might as well get some of these things done in advance if it's not too hard. Many times wood rot can be pretty minor. It just needs to be repaired and then touched up. But again, if you are involved in a VA loan or an FHA loan, they do not want, the appraiser does not want to see wood rot on the exterior of this home. And so to open up your market to all the buyers possible, because there's so many FHA buyers and VA buyers, in additional conventional buyers, try to eliminate wood rot, because you don't want to hold back your market. So you sell your home as fast as possible for the highest price possible. All right, let's jump into number 4. So as we jump into number 4, please subscribe. Please give this video a like if you're learning anything at all. Let's talk about number 4, are windows. So you as the homeowner, you're the seller. It's your house. The inspector's going to come in and they're going to open all of your windows. Don't know if you realize that. If you were smart, you would open them first. Make sure they open, because many times older homes especially have been painted. The inside of the windows have been painted many times, and they are just simply stuck shut. They're not going to go up and down very easily. Now, they probably will go up, but the inspector's not going to force them. He is not going to budge them because he's afraid he's going to crack your window. But you, as the homeowner, really need to get them open, because the inspector is going to write up on the report, I can't get these windows to open. It's a safety issue. It's a safety hazard. How are you supposed to get out of here in case there's a fire? That's how they're going to word the inspection report if your windows won't open. So just some advice: open up all your windows before you put your house on the market. Some other issues that we see, fogged up windows. This is thermal windows, when you've got the 2 layers of glass and the seal will fail, allowing some moisture in, some humidity inside between the glass, and that's what fogs up the window. That's a common one. But cracked glass is something that should be fixed, because this is going to get flagged as a safety issue, especially if it's an appraiser coming in after the inspection and they're looking for safety issues and the front window is just got 3 giant cracks in it. If this is in your budget, that's a good thing to get fixed. Now, a couple things that I want to make sure you understand. It is not the inspector's responsibility to make any kind of recommendations. That's not what they're there for. They are not to give advice. They are not to tell the buyer, you need to make the seller fix this. That's a cracked window. Well, I will tell you, the seller does not have to fix anything unless it's in your contract. Maybe your contract has the buyer set up as an FHA buyer or a VA buyer, and maybe in that contract, the paragraph under inspections or financing, maybe the seller is agreeing to pay the first $500 towards any appraisal requirements for that buyer. Now, in a situation like that, then yeah, the seller's going to have to fix some of these things if those things pop up, not on an inspection, but on an appraisal. So just so you're aware as a homeowner. But there's so many buyers taking homes in as-is condition. They're doing the inspection to see what the true condition is of the home to make sure they don't want to cancel. And so if an inspector, so you as a real estate agent or you as a buyer, because you're the ones hanging out there with the home inspector, if the inspector says, you need to make the seller fix this and this and this, or I wouldn't buy this house. Well, the inspector should not make comments like that. That's out of his realm of what he is there to do. He is simply there to document everything that's wrong and make a report about it. That's the purpose of what the inspection is. And the inspector is not there to tell you anything nice about it. So buyers, if you feel like, oh my gosh, all he did was nitpick the house. Well, that's what you paid him to do. That's the purpose of the inspection. He is not there to tell you, I love this house you're buying. I would buy this myself. That is not why he's there. And they're not going. They are there to tell you everything wrong, all the defects about the home that you're about to buy. Number 5 is radon. Now, radon does not affect the whole country, but here in the Midwest, where I live, radon's a big one. It's made number 5 on our list. The EPA says your radon level should be below 4 to be acceptable by our government standards. It's a pretty simple solution. You know, it's gets a radon mitigation system. If the buyer chooses to deal with this, radon scores can be really, really high. I've seen very high scores. It just depends on the dirt that's underneath the foundation and a radon test. You know, it sits in the lowest living area of the house, and it's going to sit there for probably a good 48 hours, and it's going to, if it's a digital test, it's going to zap the air, test the air once every hour, and it's going to create an average score of 48 different hours. And it's an average reading of those 48 hours to determine an average score. This is a big one here in the Midwest, and for much of the country, yes. If you don't have to deal with that, then good for you. You eliminate radon. Number 6 are the roof issues. Roof issues. Now, here's what's interesting about roofing issues. Most of the time, it is not about the roof. It's not about the material, the roofing shingles. It's not about that. Most of the time, roofing issues involve poor flashing. And it's fixable without too much money. Maybe flashing around a chimney, flashing coming down. Maybe it's overshooting a corner and it needs a diverter, something like that. Those don't cost too much. Now again, the inspector's going to get on the roof. So you as a homeowner, if you were smart, you would have your gutters cleaned before the inspection. Make sure all the leaves are out of it, any little tassel things that fall from trees, little propellers from the trees, the things that pin oaks drop, you know, all the different things that trees drop and they land on the roof and then they get washed into the gutter, and there you have messed up, clogged gutters. The inspector is going to walk the roof and he's looking for hail damage. Now, some advice to you homeowners: if many of your neighbors have a new roof, and you know that, well, so-and-so got a new roof 2 years ago, so-and-so got a roof last year, I'd say maybe more than half my neighborhood has a new roof in the last 2 years. Well, chances are they probably have hail damage and that got them a new roof. If they have hail damage, you probably do too. So if you have never had your roof checked and you feel like maybe you should, do not call your insurance agent. Call a roofing company. You do not want to create a $0 claim through your insurance agent on a house that may not even have hail damage. Call a roofer and ask the roofing company, do you guys do free roofing inspections? And if you don't have one, call your real estate agent. They will have roofing companies that they can recommend to you if you feel the need. That's a good one to have your personal house checked before you go on the market. Because here's what could happen. Let's say you do have hail damage, and let's say you do qualify for a brand new roof. You're going to want to deal with this before you go on the market, because that can be a time-consuming process of you as the homeowner, the seller, dealing with your own insurance company to go through the insurance adjuster and get your check and get the roof on and all that. You may not have time for that after you go under contract. And furthermore, you can have this done in advance if you're going to get a new roof, maybe paid by insurance, and then your real estate agent can advertise brand new roof. So you can get some marketing out of a brand new roof. Number 7 are the GFCI outlets. These are ground fault circuit indicators. They've got the little push button in the middle of the outlet. Newer homes, over the last few years, you'll see these outside. All outlets outside need to be on a GFCI. Inside the home, everything near water. So by the kitchen sink, in the bathrooms, will be on GFCI outlets, and they've got a little push button in the middle, and if it trips off, then you go find where that GFCI is, and you push the little button, and it should reset it back on. That's what a GFCI is. Now, sometimes, older homes don't even have GFCI outlets, but on newer homes, these only last so long. For some reason, my outside outlets will fail, and sometimes they just trip off, and we can't make them come back on. That's why it's good to have a cover over those outside outlets to keep water out of them. But this is one that pops up, number 7 on the list. Number 8 are these plumbing issues. Oh gosh, plumbing issues are so much fun because the homeowner usually knew about it and then they forgot about it. And so, there's maybe a bucket in the one of the bathrooms under the sink, and they've got a little tiny bucket to catch the occasional drip. They forget to put it on the disclosure. They just forgot. Maybe it's the main water turnoff where you have the knob coming into your home and probably in the basement or in the garage, and where the main water comes into the house. Sometimes that starts dripping, and it'll be, corroded, it'll be green and got white calcium, gross looking mineral deposits all over it. And they got a bucket, or maybe they don't even have a bucket, and you can see where it drips, and there's, it'll just flow out so far along and it evaporates up. Those are typical plumbing issues, but the ones that are so much fun is when the homeowner tries to fix it themselves with some duct tape underneath the bathroom sink, and instead of just getting a different P-trap and tightening it, they'll just start wrapping the whole thing with a whole bunch of duct tape, and those are fun inspections. Plumbing issues are typically one of the cheapest things to fix, really. Many of these are fairly cheap compared to what's coming next. Number 9 is the furnace and the air conditioner. So here are some issues that home inspectors typically will find. One of the, so some of these are pretty easy to have done. If you have your furnace and air serviced, then these are things that they need to be looking for and correcting. Missing or cracked insulation on the hosing on the outside where you're going from the edge of the home out to your air conditioner unit. Out there on that air conditioner unit, sometimes it's dirty coils. This is something you should do anyway, on your own. Take out your garden hose and hose out all the dirt and the dust and everything that gets caught in your air conditioner coils. It'll help it run a lot better for you all the time. You as a homeowner, what you really need to do before you put your home on the market is change the filter. Change the filter inside the furnace. You would be amazed how many inspectors go down there, and I'm standing there and they're starting to look at the furnace, and they pulled out the filter because they're going to, by the way. The inspector is going to take the panel off the front of your furnace, and he's going to look inside it, and he's going to inspect it, look at everything inside the furnace, and he's going to make a comment one way or the other. When he pulls out that filter, he's going to say, "Oh my gosh, sick. I don't think they changed this in years. Look at this. How does air even blow through this? Wonder how well they maintain the rest of the house." That's what's going on in his mind. Or you just changed the filter the week before, knowing your house is going on the market, and he pulls it out and it's a brand new, perfectly clean filter, and he's going to say, "Nice job, homeowner." And it will help. Change your filter, because it probably needs to be changed anyway, whether you're selling or not. Sometimes your air conditioner unit sitting outside is out of level. Why is it out of level? Because remember back to the water management number 1, the reason I'm wearing the blue shirt, the reason I hope you have subscribed and given this video a thumbs up, give me a like. The dirt settled against the house. And when it did that, your air conditioner unit is now tilting just slightly, probably towards your house, or going downhill if you've got a slope down the side of your house. This is one that it's fairly easy if you do it yourself, because you can probably get a couple of family members or friends, lift it just slightly and add some rocks under it and dirt and level it. You might need to do that anyway. Now, if it's really out of level, you don't want to lift it very much because you could damage the unit. Then you're going to need to get it serviced and get it professionally leveled. Number 10, now let's talk about these together. Chances are when the inspector is looking at the furnace and air, especially he's outside against your foundation for your AC unit, or he's in the basement or crawl space or somewhere looking at your furnace, and at the same time, he is starting to check out your foundation. Couple things that you, as the homeowner, as the seller, need to do, especially in your basement and in your garage. Pull things into the room away from the wall so that the inspector can see the wall from top to bottom. He's looking for cracks. He's also doing a termite inspection. By the way, that would be number 11 on the list, but we're not going to do number 11, but that would be termites. And a termite inspection, he needs to be able to see from the top to the bottom. And so when he's down there checking the furnace, he's starting to do his foundation check also. Foundation problems are your number one most expensive thing on this list, but thank goodness they're way down the list and only at number 10. However, most foundation problems are the result of number 1, poor water management. Remember the blue shirt, that's your number 1 issue. That is most common on properties. On a foundation inspection, when he's looking, just the homeowner, he's looking for movement. He's looking for any kind of water intrusion. He's looking for cracks. He is looking for cracks throughout the rest of the home. Upstairs, he's looking for little hairline cracks coming off of doors. Do any doors stick really hard to open and close? If he's finding things like that during the inspection, then he will be looking for movement in that foundation. You don't want to have to deal with this. So if you're just watching this for fun and you're not even selling your home anytime soon, check the grading around your home. And he's also looking for water intrusion through cracks. You know, I'm amazed how many homes do get water in the basement. If they have cracks, it's coming in near the bottom of the crack, and if it gets too much water, it'll make a little river, and you'll see a little river mark stained on the concrete as it winds its way to the floor drain. And after a few years of water coming in that crack, is pretty obvious. Oh yeah, this house gets water. Now, some advice to you as a homeowner and you real estate agents: disclose. If you know you have cracks, you disclose it on your seller's disclosure. If you know you have had water come in your basement when it rains really hard, you know the phrase, disclose that. Because if you've had it in the past, you're probably going to have it in the future too for the new buyer. So make sure you disclose. Now again, make sure you've pulled in things from around the wall so the inspector can thoroughly inspect it. Otherwise, the inspector is going to start writing things up like, I don't know what's behind all these boxes. I don't know. Might recommend you get a structural engineer. And you don't want to go there. You just don't want to go there. So you as a homeowner, do your job and get ready for your inspection. Last thing on here, you know, let's go back to the very beginning. Number 1, water management. So I own some rental properties. I suggest you do this also. No matter who you are, it's the number 1 way to build wealth in our wonderful country. So I've got a duplex, and we here in Kansas City, we've had a drought for the past 2-3 years. We'll go heavy drought for 9 or 10 months, and then we'll go through a month of heavy rain, and then we'll go through another like 10 months of just really strong drought. So I've got this duplex, and I've managed the water. My downspouts go far enough away. I've got good positive drainage. I've added dirt against the foundation. Everything looks really good. But because of this drought, it's on a crawl space, and the best thing you can do as a homeowner on your property is keep your water consistent around your house. So if you're going through periods of drought where it's not going to rain hardly at all for a month, and it's not going to rain hardly at all for the next month, then if you have a sprinkler system, that should maintain your water level up around your foundation so it doesn't dry out too far down. Or get a soaker hose and keep your water level maintained better. But in this case, it's a rental property of mine. The renter's not gonna water. They don't care. They certainly don't want to elevate their water bill. So the yard dried out thoroughly. You know, this is when you start to see cracks in the soil. Everywhere, cracks. And of course, what that means that the dirt, the soil, the yard has also pulled off of the foundation wall. And you can, you know, sometimes see down in there a little bit. Well, what happened over the course of the last few years, it's been getting some cracks, but with this drought, it's escalated the problem a lot. And so it dried out so much, it dried out pretty far down, apparently, underneath the bottom of the footing. And so then we got really heavy rain, the dirt expands, it soaks up all this moisture, and boom, the dirt slams against the foundation wall, cracking it even more than it has been cracked before. And so next thing you know, not only is it cracking like crazy, but it drops. The corner of my foundation drops, which means sheetrock cracks all over this one end of the duplex. The solution is piering. So I did have it piered. If you do have any foundation problems, get them fixed. Even if you're not selling your home, get them fixed. Because foundation problems never get better. They get worse. They get worse quickly. And next thing you know, you have very expensive foundation problems. So I went ahead and had it piered. We shouldn't have any more problems at all. But foundation problems lead to other problems. I had to have part of the driveway removed to add a pier. I had to have all of the front bushes removed so that they could get to the piers. And so I have new landscaping, I have new gravel, I have part of a new driveway, thanks to the expense of the foundation problems. That's why it's the most expensive of the 10. I hope this helped. I hope you learned something. But that is our top 10 issues when it comes to what an inspector is looking for. Again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for giving this a like. And I look forward to joining you on the next video.